Hey y'all, welcome to Fortune Travels. My name is Rue, and welcome to my video about traveling through Phuket on a budget. Let's go ahead and dive in. We're gonna get right into it. First thing I'm gonna talk about is lodging, okay? So there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm gonna go from the cheapest lodging to the most expensive, but still on a budget. The first and cheapest way is actually through Couchsurfing. I'm pretty sure some of you guys thought I was gonna say hostel, but Couchsurfing is a hit or a miss. And honestly, if you're a woman solo traveling, I wouldn't recommend it unless you can find a family to stay with or a woman. With men, usually they're looking for something a little bit more than just crashing at their place for a night or two. So if you're a solo traveler and you're a man solo traveling, I would say Couchsurfing is definitely more for you. But as a woman solo traveling, it's definitely a little bit more difficult to find a safe and secure host on Couchsurfers. And a lot of the Couchsurfers too online who happen to be men, they'll actually try to like trick you into staying with them. Quick story. So when I was in Mexico, I was trying to travel on a budget, and this one guy had on his profile that he had 2 rooms. He had a spare bedroom that he would offer to guests. And I was like, okay, this is safe, that's doable, that's fine. And when I messaged him, he was like,
oh no, that's my storage room. You have to sleep with me in my bed.
And I was like, what? So I definitely didn't stay with him.
Well, obviously.
And luckily I was actually able to find a host who was very safe and secure and who happened to be a woman. It was really cool actually getting to know her, and it actually ended up working out. But after that, I kind of stopped using Couchsurfing because I was just like, there's no way I'm going to staying with a dude. Like, it's crazy. So unless you're up for the challenge,
You have to sleep with me in my bed.
I would highly suggest if you're a woman solo traveling, don't do Couchsurfers, okay? Again, unless you can find a family or somebody who seems trustworthy to go to, do it. But even then, I would still be a little cautious. Now, the second cheapest way to travel on a budget is through hostels. And the hostels here in Phuket range from $3 a night all the way to $10 a night for a dorm bed.
So here I'm just showing you guys how to find hostels on Booking. You can also use hotels.com to find hostels. Hostel World, I don't recommend personally because they don't have a very good customer service. And if you do have an issue or a complaint with your hostel, they typically will not do anything about it. So not even a refund. So I just strongly suggest to use Booking or hotels.com. But as you can see, there's a lot of options for a dorm bed here in Phuket. And if you go to the map, you can see exactly where the hostel is going to be. I would suggest to go near a beach town area like Patong right here. You can see right here you have an option for $12 or $6 a night.
The con about staying in a hostel is that usually it's pretty noisy. But honestly, because it's the off season right now, it's actually not that noisy. I've been to a few hostels here and actually they're pretty quiet right now that it's the off season in Phuket. And I'll talk more about how this can help you stay on budget later in the video. But honestly, a lot of the hostels that I've been to have been super crowded. So it's actually pretty nice, not as chaotic as I've seen other hostels. And yeah, so it's actually not that bad. And actually now I know that at least 7 years ago this wasn't really a thing, but now more and more hostels have private bedrooms available to people. So if you still want to meet other people, I'll definitely suggest getting a private room in a hostel. I think it's really the best way to go because you can still have your own space but also mingle with other people and meet people that you could potentially travel with. And on top of that, hostels are usually for people who are traveling on a budget, so you're able to find more resources and more connections for how to go on tours and how to really do everything that you want within your budget. It's the best way to go in terms of food and tours and sightseeing. But if you're an introvert like me and you need your own space, because even though they do have the private rooms, hostels still tend to be a little loud. They're usually the places where people go to party. So if that's not for you, then I would suggest to book on Booking, or actually here in Southeast Asia, they have another one. There's another booking site that a lot of people recommend.
And that site is agoda.com. A lot of people first recommended this website to me when I was first arriving. I'm still using Booking, but maybe I'll switch to this eventually because they do have some really good deals. I just did a quick search for you guys for Phuket, and here are some of the prices that they have. As you can see, especially during the off season, these are really, really, really good deals, okay? You're getting more than 50% off, so it's just a really good good time. But what I like to do is go to the map search, and I search around the map to look for the best prices and the best location. Here's here's a lot of locations in Patong. So if you're looking for more of a party scene, this is definitely the place to be. And it's a pretty good location to visit other parts of Phuket on a budget, definitely. And just to give y'all some of an idea of how nice these locations are, here is a resort stay for $30 a night. Obviously, you're not gonna get the nicest room at the resort, but I mean, look at the location, look at the pool. It's a pretty good bang for your buck.
For me, I really like booking. And actually, a friend of mine told me this trick. So if you book a day before you're going to stay somewhere, you can get up to 50% off on booking, which is a really good deal. And especially now, it being the off season, you're gonna get even better deals. Even the room that I'm in right now, which I'll show you guys, this room is beautiful, and I was able to book it for $18 a night on booking.com. And I love it. It's the perfect amount of space for me. It is a little bit loud because it is entirely concrete, and I can hear my neighbors upstairs, but really with any hotel, this is usually the issue, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I always travel with earbuds because I'm a very light sleeper, and yeah, I need to have my earbuds. It's unavoidable. So yeah, so that's a really good trick with booking. And then on top of that, the more you use booking, you get to the genius levels. Right now, I think I'm on genius level 2, but I'm about to be on genius level 3, which is really nice, which means even more discounts for you. So again, if you want to be bougie on a budget, which is definitely how I travel, I would definitely suggest to use booking.com. Another option you can use is Airbnb. But with Airbnb, it's a little bit more challenging because you might not get some of the perks that you get at a hotel. With Airbnb, you do have the host, and things that I do like about Airbnb is you can book a place that has a kitchen, which I really like for long-term stays, because at the end of the day, no matter where you are, it's going to be cheaper for you to cook. Even here in Phuket, the food is super cheap, but it's still a lot cheaper for me to buy my food and cook it at my place that I'm staying at than to go out and buy it, even if I'm solely eating off of street food. And usually when you're cooking at home, you can have better, healthier options for yourself also. So in terms of having a kitchen, Airbnb is like really ideal for that. And my thing with Airbnb too is that if you book for long-term stays like a week or a month, then it's worth it. If you're just staying for a couple of days, then I would definitely suggest to just book with a hotel. But it's cool because on Airbnb, they give you a discount, I think of 10% for a week, and then I want to say 25% for a month, maybe 35%. Honestly, when I was traveling, last year, some places I was able to get up to 45% for booking with them for a month. But I think that's a little bit more rare, and it really depends on the host that you're going for or that you're going to be staying with. So just look out for that for Airbnb. These are the best options. It would be Couchsurfing, hostels, booking.com, and then Airbnb. The second way to travel on a budget here in Phuket is through a group. Now, being at a hostel, that is the best way to meet other people when you're traveling, especially as a solo traveler. If you are at a hotel, you could also go to hostel parties. I think that's a great way to meet people, is to go to those parties and meet other people to travel with, but you don't necessarily have to stay there. I've actually met a lot of my friends through this way, through me staying somewhere else and then me going to a hostel for a party and then meeting them there. But in terms of doing tours, this is the best way to travel on a budget, is through booking tours with a group. I mean, at least 3 people or more. I just love the birds here. The more people that you book a tour with, you're gonna get the bigger discount, obviously. This is when you can negotiate a price. Now, if you're just booking a tour solo or with one other person, you're less likely to get a discount with that booking. But if you have 3 or more people, guaranteed you can get some kind of discount with the tour. Yeah, so again, hostel is the best way to meet people. I just really want to reiterate that, especially during the off season when you're not going to see as many people at your hotel or your Airbnb, hostel's the best way to do it. Thirdly, and probably actually, this is probably number 1, go during the off season. That is the biggest way to save on travel expenses, especially in Phuket. And for me, the best time to do this is going to be the end of March to April. I think this is the best window to do it. It's considered like in between the high season and the off season. I think it's more ideal to travel during this time. Think about the low season or the off season here in Phuket. especially this year, is that there's a lot of rain. In fact, a lot of the locals have been telling me that there's even more rain than normal. So I think especially if you're thinking about traveling to Phuket this year, I would highly suggest to wait until the high season when the weather is perfect and sunny and dry. Now, if you don't mind the rain, then go ahead and, you know, come through. But I would be a little bit skeptical about that because for me, the rain is a big issue. Like, I'm not trying to be indoors when I'm traveling, right? Like, I want to be outside on my little moto, just really exploring. And you can't really do that when there's a lot of rain. So again, I would highly suggest to come during the end of the high season so you can get those low season prices. Or at least in March. March will be the ideal time to be here. How to save on food when you're traveling on a budget. Now, like I said earlier, the easiest way to save on food is to have a kitchen and cook. Even with the street food here in Phuket, it's like if you can cook your own food, that you're gonna save so much more money and you're actually gonna end up eating a lot more than if you were to just survive off of street food. But that being said, I know some of you guys probably can't cook. I've met a lot of travelers who can't cook and have been able to survive off of a budget and not be able to cook, so it's totally doable. Here's how to do it. You live off of street food, and actually here in Phuket, the street food actually is really healthy.
Real quick, we're gonna have to pause. Okay, this was one of the best dishes I had. It is roasted duck. I've never had duck before, but can I say this was my favorite meal, and it was some street food too. This was actually on a bus route. So, yo, I'm telling you, don't skimp out on the street food because it is amazing here. Some of the best food I've ever had.
I was able to actually find a thing of spring rolls for about 30 baht, which is maybe just about $1. Surviving off of the street food is definitely doable, but with the off season and traveling during the off season, you have to find the times when they have the street food available. The markets are a great place to find cheap, affordable food, but it being the off season and with COVID, it's harder to find those night markets. Usually you'll find them on certain days of the week instead of every day of the week. So again, when you arrive in Phuket and you arrive in your location, whether it's Patong or Phuket Town or Pata Beach, whichever beach you end up going to, just make sure to ask a local first about where's the cheap places to go, what days the night markets are available. Also, one thing that I found is that the prices are a lot cheaper during the weekday. So in my last video, I talked about how I went to Rawai Beach. This is the ultimate seafood experience you can possibly go for, to be completely honest. Like, that was the best seafood experience I've had. And I think it's gonna be the best one. I'm not really sure, but in terms of food and price, it was amazing. But I found that if you go on the weekend, they hike up the prices a lot. So you wanna go during the weekday if you want to stick to that budget but still experience the amazing seafood that Rawai has to offer. Also, I know a lot of you guys are probably worried about eating the street food and worried about food poisoning. I've been here for about a month now, and like, I have not gotten any food poisoning at all. So, which is really surprising because like when I was in Colombia and Mexico, I definitely got food poisoning. Even the locals get food poisoning from the street food, which is pretty bad, but yeah. But here I haven't had any. That's been pretty nice, to be completely honest. And hopefully, knocking on wood, that I will not get food poisoning at all. But the food is actually pretty cheap here. Even if you do go to a restaurant, the range is about $6 to $7 for a really good meal, which isn't that bad, you know. But again, if you want to do that long-term, slow travel, you're gonna have to go for the cheaper food. And actually, I found that here in Phuket, there's a lot of fusion restaurants. So there'll be like Thai mixed with German or Thai mixed with United States food. Those are really good restaurants to go to if you're traveling with people who do want something different, but you want to stick to a budget. And here's why. Because normally on these food menus, the Thai food will be a lot cheaper than the foreign food. It's kind of to be expected, right? So if you're going out and your friends want to eat something different, I would suggest going to one of those fusion restaurants so you can still stick to your budget and still spend about, what, 150 baht on some pad thai, which is pretty expensive for pad thai, but again, if you're at a restaurant, that's usually the price. And 150, what, it's about like $4? So it's really not that bad for dinner, right? For nice dinner out with your friends. Also, eat where the locals eat. So if there's a restaurant the locals go to, that's probably gonna be the best bet in terms of affordable food too. So don't be afraid, just ask the local. You can even ask one of your hostel, one of the people who work at the hostel or the hotel, ask them where they go to eat and they'll probably give you a really good suggestion. So So next is transportation. Transportation is a big one, especially in Phuket. Number one, the easiest and the cheapest way to get around Phuket is through moto. Just buy a moto, especially if you're a person solo traveling. I would say if you're gonna stay in one place for a couple of days, rent it for a couple of days and you'll get an even better deal. And so a moto, it ranges from 150 to 250 baht, which is about $4 to $6 or $7 a day. And then on top of that, the gas is going to be about 50 to 100 baht depending on where you're going and how much you're traveling that day. Now I will say this, especially if you're going during the off season, there is a lot of rain. So just be prepared if you are going to take a moto, be prepared for the rain. Make sure you have multiple ponchos and make sure you have something to cover up your backpack, especially if you're going to be backpacking throughout Phuket and going outside of Phuket. One thing that I do suggest, especially for the off season, is if you can get a group together of 3 or 4 people, then I would suggest hiring a taxi by day because it's gonna be about 1,000 baht per day to get a taxi. And to me, this is the easiest way to do it because you can see all of Phuket, see all the beaches that you want to go to, and not really have to worry about parking or gas, or even if you know you're going to be partying and drinking, not having to worry about driving afterwards. It's super important. But yeah, really a taxi is the way to go if you have at least 2 or 3 people. I think it's the way to do it. It is a little bit more expensive than getting a moto, but for me it's super ideal, especially during the rainy season. If I know it's going to be raining that day, it's just so much more of a peace of mind to just get the taxi and go where I need to go. Now, for the taxi, like anywhere else in the world, the taxi drivers are obviously going to try to take advantage of you if you're a tourist. So the way that I have finessed my way around this is by having 2 applications. One of them is the Grab app. It's pretty popular in Southeast Asia. And the thing with Grab is that they have different tiers of taxi services. And a lot of the taxis, no matter what kind of car it is, they're gonna only accept the jobs from a higher tier of taxi services. I think during the high season, maybe this doesn't happen as often, but during the off season, yeah. It's harder to get the lower tier taxi services around Phuket. It's really easy. But my favorite, especially for Phuket, is gonna be InDriver. Or you even come over here, get the app InDriver, and you can get anywhere. The prices are really great. In terms of transportation, if you wanna go outside of Phuket, you wanna go to Phi Phi Island, you wanna go to Railay Beach, I think that's what it's called, or Ao Nang, some of the most beautiful places in this, like outside of Phuket, then I definitely suggest you have to ask the locals, be like, hey, where's the transportation service? You can also ask a tour agency, but you kind of have to emphasize like, hey, I'm traveling on a budget. I need to, take the cheapest way possible, and they'll help you out. Otherwise, they will tell you go with a tour. The fastest way to do it is to go with a tour, and then they pick you up from your hotel. Super convenient, but honestly, you're gonna be spending at least 500 more baht, like just about $15 more than if you were to just do it on your own. But again, if you're pressed for time, then that's the way to do it. Just go with a tour so they can pick you up at your hotel and get you to where you need to be quickly and efficiently instead of spending a whole day traveling. Now, last but not least is gifts. So in my previous video, I talked about my favorite and my go-to market in Phuket, Naka Market. I think this is the best place also to get gifts because not only do they have more things than I've seen in any other market in Phuket, but also you can negotiate the price even more. It's so much more ideal, especially if you are looking to buy for multiple people. You can go there, buy in bulk, get a really, really good deal, and not have to worry about people overcharging you. There is another market in Phuket town called the Phuket Night Market. That one's good too, but they're definitely a lot less likely to negotiate the price with you, even if you are buying multiples of something. They don't really want to negotiate price. And the other thing is you can find the same exact stuff that you will find in the Phuket Town Market in Naka Market. I would just say go to Naka Night Market if you're there on the weekend. It's only open on Saturdays and Sundays right now because it's the off season. But I highly suggest it, especially for the food. There's food there that I have not seen in any other night market. So really that is the place to go for food and for gifts. So just keep that in mind. But of course the best gifts is their traveling stories, right? So if you're really on a budget and you can't bring back gifts of any kind, then definitely bring back the stories and the experiences with you. That's the best gift of all. I hope this helped you guys figure out how to travel in Phuket Phuket on a budget. Now, if you have any other questions about traveling through Phuket on a budget, please comment below and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And last but not least is the giveaway. So I'll be announcing the winner of the giveaway tomorrow on my Instagram. It is still not too late to join the raffle for the giveaway. All you need to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description below. And next week, I will announce the new gift that I will be giving away for my giveaway, my monthly giveaway. So again, if you didn't win anything this month, well then you have another chance next month. Okay, I'll see you all later.